You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 25th of September. India's biggest enemy is dependence, says PM Modi amid US tariff and visa row. Kashmiri activist urges global action against Pak-sponsored terrorism. And Sri Lanka and Bangladesh seek to join China-backed trade bloc. And now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, speaking at the inauguration of the Uttar Pradesh International Trade Show 2025 on Thursday, called for the fulfillment of the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat and said that at a time when the whole world is experiencing global disruption, countries will compromise their own growth by relying on others for their own development. The Prime Minister stated that India is strengthening its position and will no longer accept being dependent on other nations for its own development. PM Modi further said that India is strengthening the foundations for the coming decades. The trade show under the theme Ultimate Sourcing Begins Here is being held from September 25th to 29 and will see participation from Russia as a partner country, adding strategic significance, opening avenues for bilateral trade, technology exchange and long-term cooperation.
उत्तर प्रदेश इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड शो 2025 के इन डिसरप्शन के बीच आज भारत आने वाले दशकों की नींव मजबूत कर रहा है और इसमें भी हमारा संकल्प है, हमारा मंत्र है आत्मनिर्भर भारत। दूसरों पर निर्भर होने से ज्यादा व्यवस्था कोई और हो ही नहीं सकती। बदलती हुई दुनिया में जो देश जितना ज्यादा दूसरों पर निर्भर रहेगा, उसकी ग्रोथ उतनी ही कॉम्प्रोमाइज रहने वाली है।
Meanwhile, US Energy Secretary Chris Wright has expressed strong admiration for India and said Washington is keen to expand energy cooperation with New Delhi in areas including natural gas, coal, nuclear energy and clean cooking fuels. He acknowledged the geopolitical challenges India faces, particularly in relation to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and linked it to the global energy trade.
I think there's a bright future there, but somehow we got to figure out how to work together to put the maximum pressure to bring the war to an end.
And India on Thursday successfully test-fired its new generation nuclear-capable ballistic missile Agni-Prime from a rail-based mobile launcher system off the coast of Odisha. Adding to India's defence arsenal, the Agni-Prime missile boasts several key features. The missile uses a ring laser gyro-based inertial navigation system and a micro-inertial navigation system with optional GPS and NAVIC satellite navigation. Congratulating Defence Research Development Organisation, Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh pointed out that the intermediate ballistic missile could be launched within a short reaction time. The Agni-Prime missile has demonstrated high accuracy in its previous tests and it is likely to be inducted into the Indian Army after completing pre-induction trials. Moving on. Kashmiri human rights activist Tasleema Akhter made a powerful appeal to the international community on the sidelines of the ongoing UNHRC session in Geneva, recounting her personal tragedy and the collective suffering of thousands in India's Jammu and Kashmir due to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. She recalled when at the age of 11 in the year 1999, her father and brother were abducted by terrorists and how the week-long captivity forced the family to flee their ancestral home. She highlighted 3 decades of terror marked by killings of teachers, migrant workers and worshippers, alongside the mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits.
UNHRC, United Nations.
Tasleema urged global action and accountability of terror-sponsoring states.
Hold accountable those who sponsor terrorism. Pakistan's role in training, arming and financing terrorists must not be ignored. Support rehabilitation and empowerment. Widows, orphans and displaced families need education, livelihoods and hope not charity, but their rightful place in society. My message is simple. We do not revenge, we seek justice. We do not seek war, we seek peace.
Moving on. Rising gas prices in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have sparked anger, with families warning they may have no option but to cut forests for fuel. Local leaders say the crisis is pushing both households and the environment toward disaster. We have a report.
Residents in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir have said they cannot afford expensive cylinders, warning they will be forced to resort to use forest wood for fuel. Local politician Maulana Muhammad Altaf but highlighted that every winter brings steep hikes despite efforts by the Price Control Committee. While rates inside the city sometimes hold, in surrounding areas shopkeepers charge much higher, leaving ordinary families to struggle.
हुकूमत इस पर खुद भी ज़रा ओगरा से बात करके और हुकूमत आज़ाद कश्मीर बाकी जगहों पर जैसे सरमायाकारी करती है उन्हें चाहिए कि आज़ाद कश्मीर में हुकूमत अपनी सरपरस्ती में या रायती निर्खों पर फिलिंग स्टेशन कायम करे, जहां डीलर्स के साथ साथ आवाम जो है वो ओगरा के रेट के मुताबिक या हुकूमत जो रेट मुकर्रर करती है उसके मुताबिक उनको गैस दस्तयाब हो सके। एक तरफ जो इस वक्त मौसमी तब्दीली आ रही है, जिसमें बड़ा अंसर जो है वो जंगलात के बेदर कटाव का सबब बनता है, जिससे यानी सख्त बारिशें भी होती हैं और तवील खुशकसाली भी होती है। लेकिन हुकूमत अमली इक़दाम करने से गुरेज़ां है, यानी कि मुतबादिल ईंधन के लिए हुकूमत कोई कोशिश नहीं कर रही।
But noted that in outskirt areas, a gas cylinder costs 1,500 to 2,000 rupees more than in Muzaffarabad. Even in the city, prices exceed official rates, while in villages the burden is far worse. He urged the government to establish subsidized gas filling stations across PJK, warning that without intervention, people will keep cutting forests for survival, fueling both financial strain and environmental decline in the occupied region.
And Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, along with Hong Kong and Chile, have expressed their interest to join the China-backed Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the world's largest trade bloc. The RCEP currently includes China, Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand and the 10 ASEAN member nations. Officials said there were few objections to new applications and efforts would be made to integrate the four economies. Expansion talks are expected this week on the sidelines of ASEAN Trade and Economic Ministers meeting in Malaysia. Malaysia's Trade Minister told Reuters that a final decision is likely in October when RCEP leaders hold their first summit in 5 years. Analysts note that while the China-backed grouping could help members cushion against US tariffs, its provisions remain weaker than other regional trade pacts due to varying interest among participants.
For the RCEP meeting, we want to focus on issues that will help RCEP members. There are also suggestions about how to improve the current RCEP that we have. There are even suggestions about bringing in new countries into RCEP.
And Nepal's President Chandra Paudel on Wednesday issued an ordinance to amend the Voter Roll Act 2016, paving the way to enroll Gen Z voters on the electoral list. The ordinance was issued under Article 114 of the Constitution by the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. The ordinance aims to amend an earlier session of the Voter List Act, which had barred registration after the announcement of an election date. This act had prevented eligible citizens, particularly youth who recently reached voting age, from being listed in the voter roll. The newly formed interim government led by Prime Minister Sushila Karki has called for elections on March 5th next year. Nepal has had 14 governments since being declared a Federal Democratic Republic in 2008, with repeated uprising fueled by stark income inequality and youth unemployment at more than 20%. And that's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Till then.